Hey, good morning, my friends. Coming to you here from the Philippines currently. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about as an expat, living as an expat outside your home country. Do you need a lawyer? Do you need to have an attorney in your contact list on your phone? So that's what we're going to be talking about on today's video. And a spoiler right up front, the answer to this question is yes, of course. You need to at least have the number and the business card to a local attorney in whatever country you're living in. There you go. If you don't watch anything else in this video, you're just going down your retirement checklist, what you need to do. You're about to move to Southeast Asia, you're about to move to Central America, wherever you're moving outside of your home country, and you're going to live there full time. Do you need to have some type of relationship with a local attorney? And that relationship can just basically mean anything from you did a Google search, for an hour or so, read some reviews, got into an expat group. They recommend this attorney because they used them. Whatever research you do to say, okay, I have the number, the address, the name of a local attorney in case I ever need their services. It can be basically that, where you never meet the guy or gal, or to the point that you make an appointment, go to their office, and actually sign an attorney-client agreement, pay them a retainer, and just have them on standby in case you ever need their services. And it's whatever level of comfort that you think you need. I'm not here giving legal advice. Let me throw the disclaimers out there up front. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a person who's lived outside my home country for 10 years, say a decade. And so I have a lot of experience living outside my home country. And I would actually add a couple years to that. Anyhow, you're talking to a dude who's been outside the U.S. I'm an American, if you haven't figured that out by the accent. Now, most of my viewers are from the U.S., but I have a viewership worldwide. A lot of folks in Australia, Europe, you guys are just waiting until the point you can retire and move wherever you're going. A lot of you coming to the Philippines. So I just want to have an informal conversation with you. But again, the answer up front, and let me make this clear, no matter where you live, it's one of those things that nobody likes attorneys, nobody likes to pay an attorney, nobody wants to go to the attorney because usually it's not something good, right? Unless you're closing on your first house and you're so excited and you go to a closing attorney. Okay, any other reason to go to a lawyer, it's usually not positive, right? It's costing you money. But one of the financial advisors, I don't know, in his book or in a statement one time, he said, he said the game of business is played, what did he say? Played by three different types of actors. The game of business is played with attorneys, accountants, and politicians. And if you don't like playing with those actors, then those characters, you don't need to be in the game of business. And it's pretty smart, right? If you're going to be a world traveler and just constantly roam the world and never settle down anywhere, this advice, it applies, but it doesn't. Because it's different from being a constant traveler versus living as an expat. And let me explain. If you're just going to throw a backpack on and hit 30 days in this country, bebop to this country, you're just staying in hotels, you're island hopping, you're not going to settle in a place long enough that most of this will apply. In that case, what you need to do is touch base with an attorney in your local, your home country, and tell them, hey man, I'm about to embark on on this journey, and give your attorney your travel plans, brief synopsis of what you're doing, and say, look man, if something ever happens to me on the road, I'm going to put word back into you, and you'll be the point of contact to help me out in whatever country I'm in. But imagine you just go out on a backpacking trip for 6 months, like a lot of us have done in the past, and you have a problem in country X that has poor infrastructure, maybe there's no internet in the place, there's no internet or cell service where you're at, what have you, and you wind up in an incident. Let's just call it an incident. We'll talk about this. Who are you going to call? Who's going to be your point of contact to say, hey, I was drunk in a bar last night and I got locked up I'm in jail and pick a country. I'm in Guatemala in this small town. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what to do, right? But if you can get word to that one person that you briefed and let that person start trying to help you, and if it's a legal issue, it needs to be a lawyer, all right? Yeah, your family and friends are going to help, but at some point, if you're in trouble, folks, you got to get a lawyer. That's just the way it is. Nobody likes a lawyer. But if you don't have your own personal lawyer and it's a criminal case, you know what it means? Prison time. Because the public defender, he's got 500 other cases. He's underpaid. He's not getting paid off commission. You think he gives a shit about your case? No, he's just moving paper. He's just stacking numbers, statistics, trying to get case files off his desk and get off of work as early as he can, because he's not making any extra money working on anybody's case, any extra amount of time. All right, folks, so I'm back. Old dog doing a little howling. Plus the sun was coming up. That sun comes up. Where I was sitting had been direct sunlight on me, so I wouldn't have made it much longer anyhow. I like sitting there and watching the sun coming up, drinking my coffee, but it would have messed me up, so I moved around back. Hope you like my studio. Welcome to my studio. I'd like to welcome all these flies to my studio. For some reason, they seem to be congregating around me here. It always cracks me up, all these guys and gals in the YouTube game. They spend these thousands of dollars on a studio. My studio tour. Look at all this money I spent. I guess if you're in New York City, in a apartment building, something like that, you probably have to, because there's so much background noise. You don't have these outside spaces, so I get it. You got to spend money to soundproof a room. And I tried to soundproof a room over a couple other places we live because there's an echo. It's much easier just to take your camera, go outside somewhere. You have natural lighting. You got a great background that changes wherever you take your camera. So I'm not an inside studio type of guy. Every time I try it, I can't get the lighting right. The background looks funny. It's boring. So anyhow, welcome to my studio of the moment, which is basically my backyard. If there's a little bit of background, it's because the old lady and my babies are still sleeping and the aircon's still running. You got to deal with it. All right, so back to talking about this lawyer. I have no idea where I left off, but you're probably right out of the gate saying, man, I'm retiring. I don't want to deal with paperwork, lawyers. I want to kick back, drink beer, and be barefoot on the beach all the time. Okay, I got it. But two things. Number one, let's just take the Philippines for example, because that's where I'm at. Which one do I start with so I don't mess it up? Number one, When you need a lawyer at that moment, if it's something criminal or something that has got you in front of the authorities, that's not the time to be searching for a lawyer. It's not time. The time is right now when you have the time. But if for some reason, whatever happens, folks, and I'm not saying you're a criminal, okay? I'm not saying that. I don't say you plan on doing anything, but as in your home country, you walk out the door, maybe you get into a traffic accident, somebody gets injured. Now you've got law enforcement face to face with you, asking you questions. Maybe the car wasn't registered properly because you don't understand all the laws. Maybe you don't have a driver's license yet in the country that you moved to. Now you're in an accident. Now you got the cops taking you down to the station to have a conversation with you. That's not the time to be thinking or Googling on your phone, lawyers near me. It's too late, okay? This is something that you need to get ahead of the curve. It's quite obvious. Say you're sitting in a bar in a tourist town, and the police come in and start checking passports, and you left your passport in your hotel because it was a quick overnight trip. Now you're down at the police station trying to prove that you do have a passport and you do have a visa. You don't speak their language. That's not the time to be calling for legal help to try to just get you out of the situation. See, again, not saying that you're a criminal, that there are instances where you might need an attorney's help, advice, translation services, a phone call, So, option number 2, scenario number 2, in the Philippines, if you are going to get married, have a girlfriend that you're going to invest in a fucking pig farm for her and yourself, that you're going to lose your money, you're going to build a house in the village on her family's land where you're going to lose your money. All of these scenarios, if you don't have a lawyer up front, you're going to get a lawyer. And you know what his name is? His name's Rafi Tulfo. When you lose all your freaking money to some cockamamie business idea that you've invested money in without having a lawyer draw up some type of contract or review the contract or review the deal and give you advice, you're going to get a lawyer appointed for you. It's called Rafi Tulfo. He's the Filipino version. And I'm not taking anything away from him but it's a combination of Jerry Springer, that part of his show, versus real legal advice, versus his team of and his staff actually trying to help you, the foreign dude. I highly recommend, and I'll put some links down in the description, that you watch several episodes of Rafi Tulfo about foreigners coming over to the Philippines and losing hundreds of thousands of dollars to their Filipino girlfriend and her family because they were naive. Let's use the nice word of naive and trusting. Or you could go the other route and say they're just fucking stupid because they wouldn't do this stuff in their home country, but they come over here and think it's okay to buy somebody a house or build somebody a house without a contract. You're blinded by beauty. You think you're escaping the West, and you get burned. And you will get a lawyer. His name's Rafi Tulfo. If you're lucky enough to get on his show, plead your case, he'll help you. But it's too late because you've already lost your money and you're not getting any of that money back. Wouldn't it be a lot smarter just to go ahead and pay a few thousand pesos up front to a local attorney and say, hey, I'm thinking about building a house for my Filipino girlfriend in her village. What steps legally are going to be involved with this? Do I need to get a building permit? Do I have any rights to this house once it's built? What happens if I break up with my girlfriend? Can I still live in the house? And this local attorney is going to tell you what the local laws are. And if he or she is being honest with you, they're going to slap you in the face and say, you're going to lose all your fucking money. Go watch Rafi Tulfo. Don't do it. But again, this is my opinion, and I'm not here giving legal advice. I'm just telling you to seek legal advice on anything that involves large sums of money, any type of construction, any type of venture where there are partners, local partners, foreign partners. It don't fucking matter. And don't come over here and think that just because you engage in business with another American that you can't get burned. There's a lot of people over here that will take you for your money. The lawyer in whatever country you're in could potentially just save your ass from losing your 401k, your savings, your nest egg, whatever you want to call it, by just walking to his office and getting some advice. How much is the advice going to cost? Folks, compared to the U.S., services such like attorneys are very affordable. I don't want to use the word cheap, but compared to what you're used to, they're very affordable. So any of these scenarios that I just talked about, and I'm going way off my notes, this is going to be a long video, but so many dudes lose their life savings. Maybe you want to sit through this one, okay? So anyhow, that local attorney can basically just talk some sense in you. Let me give some examples. I know dozens and dozens and dozens of people. If you have to put a number on it, I'd say at least 100 that have built houses in what they tell you, oh, I built a house in my wife's village, on her land, or on her mom's land, or something of that nature. And I already know the ending of the story, right? I've been here a long time. And I'll listen to their story, and I'll say, oh yeah, whose land is it? Oh, it's her tita, or Ati Mama's land. How do you know? Because she said. So let me get this straight. You built a house, just say 50,000 US dollars. You can build a house here for 50,000 US dollars. You spent 50,000 US dollars and built your girlfriend or wife a house on a plot of land that you don't know who owns that plot of land. Oh yeah, I do. It's my wife's aunt's land. Bro, how do you know? Well, my wife told me. Her aunt told me. And I'm like, bro, let's get down to reality. You have no idea who owns that land. You have no idea that you just took 50,000 US dollars out of your whatever you've got and sunk it in that dirt. You have a contract? Did you have a contract with the person who built it? No, my wife handled that. I just give her the money. It was her cousin and blah, blah, blah. Okay. You don't know whose fucking land you built the shit on. I don't need to hear anything else. But then everything else, you don't know if they got paid, if this person got paid, if somebody is disgruntled. You know nothing. Now in here in the Philippines, everything's in English, right? Well, most things are in English, not everything. But a lot of these contracts and stuff and these deeds and these documents, you can actually read. It's in English. What about in Thailand where everything's in Thai? Oh, my wife showed me the deed. Oh, really? Your wife showed you the deed to a plot of land that she says belongs to her. Oh, yeah, I got the deed. Or I've seen the and I'm not going to start talking Thai or technical terms. I just using American, just layman's terms here. So you saw the land deed. Oh yeah. Do you speak Thai? Well, no. Then I'll make the assumption that your ass don't read in Thai. Okay? Because Thai characters, it's not the alphabet, it's not A to Z. So I'm assuming that if you don't speak Thai, you don't read Thai. Well, no. Then how the fuck do you know what she showed you? She could have showed you a goddamn 10-year warranty on the mattress that she bought, you know, down at the fucking market. Who knows? You don't know what the hell you read. You know why? Because your cheap ass didn't go down, meet with a local attorney. Just you. Don't take your wife. Don't take your bar girl girlfriend. You go down there, meet an attorney and say, hey, I'm from America. I don't know shit about the local laws here. I don't speak the language, but I want to build a house for my girlfriend and I in her village. And then that dude's going to kick back in his chair like this and say, all right, ready to take some notes? And you take notes and you pay the guy or gal. How much is an attorney here? Dirt cheap compared to America. You could go in there for a 1 hour, 2 hour consultation, $50, $100 max, and you could sit there for 2 hours and get some no shit legal advice from a local attorney. That $50, say 2,000, 3,000 pesos, that hour and that $50, $60 could potentially save you from getting wiped out like all these other gentlemen that end up on Rafi Tulfo. Because I would almost guarantee 99.99999 to the infinite power percent that not one of them dudes on Rafi Tulfo, where they've lost tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, had an attorney prior to whatever they did. Now, somebody brought it to my attention that there was recently another American on Rafi Tulfo last week that lost, I think, 11 million pesos, a couple 100,000. American dude from California. A lot of y'all seem to be from California that lose your money. I guess it's because you sold a house in California, you got rich, and then you come over here and quickly lose it. Why? It's the purpose of this video. Because you didn't have a local attorney. But one will be appointed for you if you're dumb enough to give a local $200,000 without a contract. His name's Rafi Tulfo. It should be Miranda rights to every foreign guy that comes through and gets a retirement visa. You know, they give you a card. You have the right to lose all your fucking money. You have the right to build houses in your bar girl's village without a contract. You have the right to invest in a pig farm on land that you have no idea who owns. And you also, your last right is the right to please call Mr. Rafi Tulfo when you're broke and see if you can get on the show and get some free legal help. Because once you're broke, you can't hire lawyers, too late. All right. Now, back to my notes. All right, where do we go? Okay. The topics I covered sort of in the impromptu speech was, let's see, visa issues. Any type of visa issues, don't try to Google it and go and do the paperwork yourself and save yourself $20 or $40. It's not worth it. Use a recommended service / attorney. Some attorneys do the visa issues as well. Some they're just a service without an attorney, or maybe there's an attorney supervising. Sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. But My lawyer in Thailand, they can also do visa services. Here, I just use a service, and I'm not sure if they have an attorney involved or not. But any type of visa issue, let's say visa problem. If you have a visa problem to where that can potentially get you in trouble and put handcuffs on you and get you locked up because you're a severe overstay, you need an attorney. You need to talk to a lawyer, one who specializes in immigration law, to try to get you back straight, right? The service may be able to help you, but what if the service is helping you and in the middle of ironing all this out, there's a knock at the door? Attorney. Moving right along. Number 2, we talked about just in case. Criminal. Just in case something happens criminal. You're out drinking, you get into a bar fight, next thing you know, there's a brawl and they take everybody to jail, right? Wrong place, wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time. 2 red horse equals potential problems, right? When you're sitting in the back of the police truck, that's not the time to be on your phone praying that you have battery and enough load to Google, I need a lawyer near me. It's too late. You know what you need? You need a business card of that lawyer in your wallet. Written on the back, it needs to have his cell phone number. How do you get this? By going left on the timeline, in other words, going back in time before you found yourself in the back of the police truck, sitting down, meeting with the lawyer, saying, hey, I just moved to Angeles City. I plan on living here, and I would just like to, meet you and introduce myself. Whatever I've got to pay you, a small retainer, just to have your business card in my wallet and your cell phone number. So if I ever get in any trouble, I can text you or call you, and I expect you to be there for me. The guy says, all right, give me 5,000 pesos every 6 months, or whatever he's going to say. Now you got a lawyer. Or B, you just go introduce yourself, have a 1-hour consultation, get the guy's business card, and say, hey man, I hope you never hear from me. I hope to never see you again. But if I have any problems, you know who I am. Get your business card, cell phone number. Here's 3,000 pesos. Hope to never see you. Fast forward in time, you're in the back of the pickup truck because you got into a bar brawl after drinking too much Red Horse. Pull out that old card. I'd laminate it. I'd laminate it where it don't get wet and that cell phone number don't rub off of there. And every 6 months, I'd text that dude and say, hey man, you still got your same cell number? Yeah, this is me. All right. Or send him some Jollibee over there to the office every 6 months. And you'll still have that, maybe not attorney-client agreement, but the dude still knows who you are. He's going to answer your call if you need it. Okay, traffic accident. You get into a traffic accident outside your home country, they view you as the rich foreigner. You're automatically guilty and you're going to pay. Not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, that's what's going to happen. Somebody runs into you with their piece of shit motorbike and you're driving a car, you're going to pay. You're going to fix that piece of shit motorbike that ain't worth $100. You're going to pay their hospital bill, which they're not going to go to the hospital, but they're going to claim they are. You're going to buy them a new helmet because they got a scratch on a 40-year-old fucking helmet that they weren't even wearing. You're going to pay. And if the cops show up and take you back to the station for whatever reason, what's the moral of the story? That's not the time to be Googling, I need a lawyer near me. And it pops up in Thai. It's too late. All right? Business card. Cell phone number handwritten on the back. Starting to get the point? Rent disputes. My goodness. Again, if you're a world traveler, you're staying in hotels, bebopping, this don't apply. But you get over here and you decide, okay, yeah, I want to live in Angeles City. You sign a 1-year lease. If you go with a local landlord, they're going to try to require that you give them first month's rent, 2 months rent, 1 month security deposit before you even move in. A lot of these places, they'll hit you with 3 months rent. Then a lot of them don't want to fix shit when it gets broke, right? And then when you move out, they don't want to give you your deposit back. Well, say your say your rent every month is 30,000 pesos. That's 600 bucks a month. So times 3, you're 1,800. You're giving them up front. And if something goes south, what are you going to do? Call the cops? They're not going to help you. Yeah, you can go to the barangay, but one call from the lawyer could potentially solve any issues. Lawyers here in this culture, at least in the anywhere in Southeast Asia, they're very respected. In America, we look at lawyers like used car salesmen, right? They just have a different, society has a different view of attorneys over there. Over here, they have a lot of power and a lot of sway. Almost to the point that, in my experience, like if the cops knocked on somebody's door, okay, what's going on? Who cares? If a lawyer knocks on their door, they're scared shitless. I mean, there's so much chismes, holy shit, there's a lawyer over there. It's like the lawyer has more power, wasta, respect, fear, whatever word you want to use, than the cops do. So one call from a lawyer can potentially solve a lot of disputes without it going any further. No need to escalate anything, just a call and it works shit out. And you're paying him pennies compared to what you're going to pay trying to go any other routes. I already talked about being at the wrong place at the wrong time, finding yourself in the back of a police truck. I already talked about building houses on land that you don't even know who owns the land. Again, I'm not going to talk legality. I can go down, okay, foreigners can't own land in many countries, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there's other. I'm not going there. I'm just telling you that most of y'all who come over here and fall in love with a bar girl and you do this shit, the biggest problem that I see is you don't even know who owns the land that you're sinking your money into. Now, if it is in fact the bar girl's land or her mother's land, well, okay, well, you're 100% better than most of these dudes or most situations, because at least you know that you're putting money on that person's asset. But the majority of y'all don't even do a basic investigation or check to see who owns the land or if they owe money on the land. So what happens is that you build a house and it actually belongs to Uncle so-and-so, and he's just sitting back being quiet. Because as soon as that house is built, now, Tito Ramel can go out and borrow, 5,000 US dollars on it because it's a house on the land. He's got a pocket full of money. And then he tells you, he tells your girlfriend, hey, you got to pay the utang back every month or the loan shark's going to take the house and the land. You don't know nothing about it. She's just siphoning money out of your pocket to pay the loan shark because Tito went out and took a fucking loan on it. You don't pay, all of a sudden the loan shark forecloses, takes it over, and you can't even go to your own house, and you wonder why? You really are going to wonder why? Because you built a house on dirt that you don't know who it belongs to, or if there's a big running family dispute. Because you didn't go spend $100 on a lawyer, he lost 50,000. We talked about if you're a world traveler, just get with your local attorney, tell them what you're doing, let that guy be the point of contact in case you have any problems. Okay, legalese is a language. It's a language spoke by lawyers in America using the English language. But if I started throwing terms out there like, it's a, where do I start to just if I use the term hey man, it's res ipsa, right? Or no, it's a Jackson Deno hearing, blah blah blah. You start throwing all these legal terms out there. You can't close on it because there's a lien from a builder 3 years back. A lot of y'all don't know what a lien is, and some of you do, but some of you don't. All right, and I'm not casting stones, but if you worked for the government or you were in the military for 20, 30 years, you don't know all these construction terms, about liens and escrow and all this stuff. Yeah, you closed on some houses, but that's not your specialty. Your specialty is this. Your specialty is not legal terminology. And so even sitting in your home country, you don't understand what lawyers are talking about. They're speaking legalese. It's like a doctor speaking in medical terminology. It's a different language. So do you think that you're going to understand legalese in Tagalog or Thai? It's different laws. It's different slang. It's different terminology. No, you don't understand none of this stuff, right? So if you at least have that point of contact as an attorney in your home country, he speaks legalese. All right? So if there's anything going on, he's going to speak legalese to embassies, to local attorneys, what have you, because you don't understand. You don't even understand the terminology. Why? Because you're not in the fucking legal profession, right? You're in the military for 30 years. What do you know about it? Nothing. Guess who does know about this shit? They're called lawyers. You have to pay them. All right? Let's see. I already talked about when you find yourself needing a lawyer, it's not the time to start searching for a lawyer. Damn, I went through my notes. All right, I think you're starting to get the point in my opinion, and my position here. And I'm not trying to spend your money for you, but it's very little money spent just to have that relationship and that business card and somebody to call, somebody to go see if you find yourself in that position. Now look, I don't listen to anything the U.S. State Department says or does. Like right now, if you go to the Manila's website, there's a travel advisory for the Philippines across the top of their website. If you go to any embassy's website, it's the same shit. If you listen to the U.S. State Department, you'll never leave your house because according to them, the rest of the world is very dangerous when you can't even go to a 4th of July parade in America without getting shot. So with that disclaimer said, I don't listen to anything the U.S. Embassy says, but I do give credit where credit is due. I was messing around on the website, Manila's website, and there was, I don't know, I just come across a link that it's called Retaining a Foreign Attorney. Curiosity killed me. And it's actually a list. And I said, you know what, instead of making my notes, I'm just going to use their damn list. And I'll put the link to this down in the description. Again, don't give them a lot of weight as to what they say. They're State Department employees are just sitting in cubicles going off of open source and theories, and don't listen to them. If you do, you'll never leave Kansas. All right. So it's got a disclaimer. It talks about the State Department's role, where they can't recommend any particular attorney, but they can furnish names of attorneys who have identified themselves as willing to assist U.S. citizens. Anyhow, if you get into any legal trouble, most of the time the embassy is, but they're not going to help you. They're not going to help you. You're going to notify the embassy. They're going to send somebody out. Okay, tracking a U.S. citizen got locked up. It's a criminal case. It has nothing to do with politics or refugee status or terrorism or anything like that. They're not helping you. They're going to send somebody out to visit you. They're not paying for your lawyer. They're not representing you. You're on your own. That's reality. A lot of people have this false sense of security that the U.S. Embassy is going to help them. No, that's not what they do. That's not their role. You go out and get yourself into some type of legal trouble, whether it's civil or criminal. It's not their role. They'll send somebody down there to visit you, get your information, notify your people, maybe notify the Red Cross so they can bring you an extra cup of rice when they come around doing their food giveaways. But the embassy is not your lawyer. You do not have the right to get a lawyer appointed to you in the Philippines by the United States government. It doesn't work like that. You're in the local justice system. But with that said, there is this link to retaining a foreign attorney, and there is also a list of attorneys that the U.S. Embassy has on their website. They have a document that they've compiled a list of these attorneys. I don't know what vetting they do, but there's got to be some type of vetting to get on that list. Maybe they just call and said, yeah, they're members of the bar. I don't know what they do, but there is a list. If you're interested in viewing that, I'll try to put that link down below too. So it starts out, what type of lawyer do you need? And they've got barristers, solicitors, notaries, foreign legal consultants, blah, blah, blah. Now, I will say this about a notary. I've had to have several things notarized in this country locally. Now, if you have to get anything notarized to be used in the States, you need to go to the embassy. They're going to charge you an average of $50 per page, per stamp. If you have 3 documents, that's $150 to get a notary stamp that's notarized at the embassy that you can use for documents back in the United States. Your local attorney with the local notary seal, don't use that for, in my opinion, don't use that or try to use that for documents back in the States. Okay? Go to the embassy. Okay? That's my advice. And well, I'm not giving legal advice. It's my personal advice. Unless you're dealing with the Philippine embassy. So say you're dealing with the Philippine embassy in Washington, maybe it's okay to go to a local lawyer here, Filipino lawyer, and it's much cheaper to use those documents when you're dealing with the Philippine consulate in Washington, D.C., right? The embassy. But if you're closing on a house in Kansas, you got to go down to the U.S. Embassy, $50 a page, $50 a stamp. You have to make an appointment. Back to the notaries. The notaries here, you can go to basically any attorney's office and they can do the notary stamp. But I went to one office where she asked me, is this going to be used in any type of civil or criminal case? I said, no, or I said, I don't know what I said. She said, I can't do those type of notaries. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I can only notarize this. So there's different types of notaries here, apparently. Or that's what the girl told me. But if you're looking for to get something notarized, pretty much any attorney's office in the Philippines, they can notarize your documents. All right. Guidelines on how to deal with your foreign attorney. All right. Understanding your attorney. Ask your attorney to analyze the case, but do not expect simple answers to complex legal questions. All right. In America, if you go see an attorney, anything that has to do with the law, is there anything ever simple? No, it's not. It's the law. It's the legal system. It's complex. You know, go to 10 different lawyers, they'll give you 10 different opinions, 10 different prices, 10 different courses of actions. So don't sit down with a lawyer here or anywhere and expect them to have the answer to all your problems in one sentence. It's the legal system. Okay, fees. All right. My attorneys, in my experience, my attorneys, when you sign an attorney-client agreement, they're going to give you a schedule of fees. It's going to tell you how much they're billing you per hour. It's going to tell you how much they're charging for a court appearance. How much if you have to have a face-to-face meeting with them. How much for a video conference. if you have to video conference with them for 30 minutes or an hour, they should give you a schedule of fees. If they don't offer any type of schedule of fees, maybe it's a small office, maybe he just tells you, how much they're billing you per hour for his service as an attorney and for clerical work and copies. But anyhow, in my experience, and I'm not going with the cheapest lawyers, let me pause for a second. In any field, right, you have people who their fees are cheaper and more expensive, right? It's the same in the medical profession, lawyers, you name it. But I'm going to tell you this. If you're about to have neurosurgery, brain surgery, I don't want the cheapest neurosurgeon in the yellow pages. How much is your life worth? If you're dealing with a criminal case and this guy down here is charging 500 pesos an hour and this dude is charging 5,000, and his business and everything else reflects this, his professionalism, his reputation, his reviews. If you're about to go to prison, you don't want to pay this, you don't want the 500 peso an hour dude, okay? That's like the public defender. Public defender equals prison time, all right? The cheapest lawyer equals prison time, all right? What's that show, Better Call Saul? All right, you better be picking somebody in the middle here that's won a few cases and you got to pay him. Or you be sitting in that fucking jail cell thinking, damn, should have called Saul. All right. So anyhow, lawyers don't work for free. They're a lot cheaper here, but they're not free. But make sure you know how they're going to bill you. This is a good one here, method of payment. Method of payment. Pay attention to this. My lawyers in Southeast Asia still do not accept credit cards. I can't just give them a credit card number and say, hey, just, every month when the statement comes out, just put it on the card. Nope, they don't accept credit cards. And they're not the guys down here. I got guys up here. For whatever reason, it's not their practice to accept credit cards. Cash or bank transfer. Hell, I don't even know if they accept cash. I guess they would if you walked in with the cash and paid, but they just wanted, here's our bank account information, wire it in there. It doesn't matter to them if you have a local bank account or whatever. It's just, that's how they do business. They have a bank account, here's our banking information, wire the money. So when you get your statement, you gotta wire it in there. For me, it's much easier. Like, hey man, come on, don't you gotta pay? Come on, open a PayPal account, man. I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't want to have to go to the bank, call the bank. No, just man, take a credit card. That way I can get some fucking Hilton points. They don't do business like that. So here we go. Let's back up the timeline, or let's go forward in the timeline, which would be, I'm going my right. It'd be that way for you. Forward in time. You find yourself needing a lawyer. You've taken the time and taken my advice, and you've got somebody's card in your pocket. You're calling that number. Hey man, I'm in trouble over here, or I'm in this contract dispute. I need some help because they went to the barangay. And the guy's gonna say, okay, well I'm gonna obviously need some payment. How are you gonna pay me? I got my credit card number right here. Okay, things that you have to be thinking about. So you better have somebody with your ATM card that you trust that can go pay the gentleman, or have some way to wire the money. Because not all, I can only speak from my experience. Again, I'm not giving advice. I'm just telling you my experience. A lot of attorneys do not take credit cards. And how are you going to do a wire transfer when your ass is in the back of the police truck? Yeah, you can't pay via credit card from a jail cell. That's in my notes. Progress reports. Okay, if you got a long case, some type of dispute or whatever, you want some type of progress reports. The worst thing when you hire a lawyer in any case I've ever been involved in my own personal experience is when you don't hear from them. This shit just keeps dragging on. You don't get some type of progress report, then you put a call into them and they're a ghost. You can't get a hold of them. You think, hey, nobody's got my back. The dude took my money. You don't trust them. With my lawyers here in Southeast Asia, they're accessible. If I text them, they text back. If I email them, they email back. I usually don't go more than 2 weeks without talking to them, corresponding, basic correspondence. And so we have that relationship. I'm not worried that their office closed down or they ran off with my last payment or stuff like that. No, because I'm in contact with them. They're in contact with me. If I didn't hear from them for a month, yeah, I would lose confidence in them. I want to at least say, hey man, every 2 weeks, send me an email and say, hey, this is the progress report. And it can be a few lines. Hey, there is no updates. I checked in. It's still pending in the court system. Got it. The court system will drag shit out for years, and you have to wait. But if you have an attorney, I want some type of progress report, just a 1-2 line email every week, every 2 weeks, so I know that you didn't hit the lottery and move to Vegas. All right, is the attorney fluent in English? All right, this is important. It's not important that the lawyer speak English. It's important that there's at least one person in his office that can speak English and translate. Okay, so for example, in Thailand, there's one chick in the office that does all the documents in English, very fluent in English. Everybody else in the office, not so much. Doesn't matter. That's who I deal with. And most of the time, you don't really need to deal direct with the attorney because he's making the decisions, and he's like the doctor and everybody else like the nurses. But you have to make sure, try to make sure that at least one person in that office is involved and speaks English and can write English. If not, then there's challenges, because the worst thing is that they know what's going on, but they can't relate to you about what's going on. Now you don't trust them. Now you don't have the confidence. So say you're in a place like Thailand, Cambodia, Laos. Okay, maybe the attorney does not speak English, but he or she should have somebody in the office to translate. Okay, over here, different levels of English, and in my experience, the attorneys here are fluent in English, not a problem, because they've been to college, they've been to law school, not an issue. But maybe some of the older attorneys, they're still used to speaking Tagalog most of the time. So it's just something you have to evaluate. Can that attorney properly relay to me in English what's going on, so I have confidence in their ability. Document translations just goes back to exactly what I said. Thailand, documents in Thai. Does that office also translate them into English for you? Does, one set in English, one set in Thai? They need to have that capability. Maybe the actual legal document is the Thai version, but they're giving you a loose, unofficial translation. Okay? When you talk about translating documents, there is a legal way to do it. It costs money. We won't get into that, but basically that's how my attorney there does it. The legal version is Thai. They translate it to English for me, so I have that version. Communications, let's see. Keep your attorney informed. All that shit's common sense. Asking them about how much time they anticipate the case. This is all just common legal stuff, right? Authentication and translation of documents. That's what I just talked about. Sometimes you have to get documents what's called apostilled. Sometimes they have to be translated by official government translators, all that good stuff. But that's not the purpose of this video, right? Complaints against foreign attorneys. If the services of your foreign attorney prove unsatisfactory, in addition to notifying the State Department, you may address your complaints to the local bar association. Not recommended. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice, but it's not something wise to do, to start complaining on local attorneys in their own country. They're in the legal system. You're a foreigner here on a visa. Don't recommend that. I recommend you just respectfully change attorneys. Okay, assistance of U.S. embassies and consulates. If your attorney doesn't win your case, the U.S. embassy ain't going to help you. You can go whine and cry to them. They don't give a shit. They're just worried about when margarita night is. They'll sit there and listen to your shit at the window and laugh at you behind your back, probably. Just get a new attorney. If you're losing confidence in the one you have, go retain another one. Let's see, coordination with attorneys in the States. I've already talked about that. Having somebody in the States, have an attorney in the States not on retainer, folks. It's a phone call, a one-time meeting, a consultation. Just pay the consultation. Tell the guy or gal what you're doing. I'm leaving my home country. I hope to never have to call you, but I wanted to pay you, have a 1-hour consultation, get your contact information. You can open up a file on me and know that I'm living in the Philippines, and I hope I never see you again. For me, that's worth a couple $100 before I leave the States. And it's damn sure worth $100 when I get to whatever country I'm going to live in to go do the same damn thing. Just, I hope I never have to call you. I never have to see you again. I'll send you a Christmas card every year, with $50 in it. I just want your business card, a cell phone number, and if I call you, lock my number in your phone. So if I call you at 11 o'clock, you damn know that there's a foreign guy in trouble and I need your help. All right. Finding a foreign attorney. Here it is. U.S. embassies and consulates maintain lists of attorneys, including American attorneys licensed to practice in the foreign country. So check out those lists. Now look, again, I do my own thing. I don't listen to the State Department. But these are valid points on this. And at least if they're on that list, there's some type of vetting. And they're getting business from that list. And if they screw up, they know they'll just be removed from the list. They'll just not blacklisted or anything, but they just delete them from the list. And they don't want it. They don't want that. So there is some type of vetting, right? Because if they get complained on, they get removed from the list. They're losing money. So draw your own conclusions, okay? I did not get any of my attorneys off of these lists. I never even really thought about it. Legal aid. This is a funny one here. There may be facilities in the foreign country for low cost or free legal services. Contact the Foreign Bar Association if you need legal aid. Legal aid may be available. Information from the International Social Service. You go to any country outside the West, Southeast Asia, Central America, anywhere in the tropics, as a foreigner, and tell them you need free legal aid. Matter of fact, video it. I love to see their looks on their faces because it's funny. I've seen it inadvertently. It's a long story, but basically, I just had to ask a question, and I had to go up to the attorneys, basically the public attorneys. And trust me, I didn't go up there because I went up there. Somebody directed me to go up there. It's a long story, but basically, hey, go up there and ask the attorney what the code section or something. They just wrote it down, and they didn't want to do it, so they made me walk up the stairs. I walk in this room, And folks, it's this room probably the size of your living room, and there were small desks about this size, not big old attorney type desks you're used to seeing. Little small desks, paper stacked everywhere, no aircon. There was a fan going, some fans, and there had to be 30 attorneys stacked in there in a space the size of your living room. And so when it's my turn and I open the door, it's like the music stops. Everybody just looks. What the hell is this foreign guy doing in here? And so everybody sort of gave me the cold shoulder and directed me over to this young lady. And she spoke perfect English. And at first I thought she had lived in California, and I'm like, why, were you an attorney in California? I'm trying to figure out why she speaks perfect English and sounds like she's from California. And she laughed. She said, no, I worked in a call center. I worked in a call center for like 6 years when I was going through law school or something. So this girl had been talking to Americans for years and years and had me fooled. She'd never been to America, just worked in a call center. And she's laughing, and she's like, yeah, no, everybody kind of blew you off because nobody wanted to try to speak English to you. And she said, plus, this is, legal aid. This is where all the folks in the court system get their public attorney. She said, you don't qualify. She said, I can ask you the questions, but I'm telling you right now, you don't qualify. And we laughed. I said, no, I don't know why. They just wanted this, She's like, yeah. And she just wrote it down. We had a good laugh. Sweet lady. But had I really been there trying to get free legal aid because I have no money, this section about free legal aid, what I tell you about public attorneys and public defenders, that equals prison time. It's just how much, how long you want to go to prison, all right? Up here to Johnny Cochran's, you're going to walk free, but you got to have some millions of dollars in the bank, right? You want to get somebody right here in the middle that you can afford, that's actually won some cases to help you out. All right, and there's all kind of links here. I don't know, talking about international law and all this shit, but you know what? All that's irrelevant. Okay, there's a thing called WIFM. What's in it for me? And if you go to any type of instructor course or what have you, a lot of times they tell you right up front when you start your class, you have to give the students the WIFM. What's in it for me, or you lose them during the whole thing. So maybe I lost you in the beginning of this talk because you don't want to talk about lawyers. Got it. Just like I said, nobody likes lawyers. Nobody wants to pay a lawyer. Nobody even want to think about a lawyer until you need one. Until you find yourself needing one, right? So, what's in it for me? Well, if you're planning on moving here, retiring here, or anywhere outside of your home country, what's in it for you is this talk may have just saved you a bunch of money. That's what's in it for you. It may have just saved you the difference of spending a night in jail over something as simple as being drunk at a bar, drunk and disorderly, wrong place, wrong time. Local runs into you while you're driving your vehicle. I may have just saved you some money. I may have saved you some jail time. Or I may have saved you an appearance on the Rafi Tulfo show. But listen, big shout out to Mr. Rafi Tulfo. Man, you're doing God's work. The foreigners that come on your show, the reason they're on your show because they have nowhere else to turn. If they had somewhere else to turn, free legal aid, they'd already be getting help. It don't work like that, folks. So all the folks that you see on Rafi Tulfo, they lost all their money. They can't go out and retain a lawyer. Why? Because they're broke. That's why they're on Rafi Tulfo. If they're lucky enough for him to select their case and help them out. But what all these folks have in common I'm a firm believer that every one of these folks on the Rafi Tulfo show that are broke and homeless and crying because they lost $100,000 to their Filipino bar girl, they didn't go see a lawyer before they did what they did, before they transferred that fucking money, before they built that house on the bar girl's farm or her village. They all have that in common. They didn't go pay a lawyer 50 fucking bucks. You know, in America, you get a rental agreement, a personal rental agreement. I'm not paying a lawyer. I can figure that shit out myself. Same thing here. I rent a house, rent an apartment. I don't need a lawyer to review that contract. But what if I'm renting a commercial property? Something as simple as signing a commercial lease. My lawyer's going to look at that lease before I sign anything to do with that commercial property. Usually longer, there's more money involved, there's more clauses. You better let a lawyer look at that. But how many of you starting businesses, my buddies included, just go out and sign a fucking lease with a local landlord for a business property, for a commercial property? Not this guy. You want to do business with me? You want me to rent your office space, your retail space, warehouse, any type of commercial? Yeah. Give me a copy of the lease. I'll get it to my lawyer and I'll get back with you. That's it. My lawyer. Reiterate one point. Do not use your Filipino wife's or your Filipino bar girl's lawyer. That's her lawyer. That's not your lawyer. They're looking out for her, not you. Any of these situations that I talk about, you go see the lawyer by yourself, or you take a trusted expat friend with you, maybe a local friend to help translate that doesn't know your wife, that doesn't know your bar girl fiance. You go visit your lawyer without them being present, because they are the potential threat no matter how much you love them. Okay? Even though you love your wife, you get a prenuptial agreement. Does it mean you don't love her? No, it's just business. Protecting your money and your assets. I could harp on this all day, but Rafi Tulfo will never have a shortage of American fools dishing out money, losing money because they were naive, stupid, whatever term you want to use. He'll never have a shortage of people on the show because y'all won't spend $100 to go see a lawyer. Funny how that works, right? You see the irony in it? It's just perfect irony. That you hate lawyers, you won't go see one, so you try to take this venture all by yourself, even though you know nothing about business because you spent 30 years in the military and you think you know everything. Not casting stones. And then when you lose all your money, you got to go to Rafi Tulfo and see the lawyers. But you got no money to pay a lawyer, so you got to go public, so they'll do it for free. Whew, a lot of irony in that. Just because you are successful in your business, your job, your career, and you have $300,000 in the bank, that doesn't make you a savvy business owner in Southeast Asia. You don't know the ways of the roads and the streets, and the ways of the land. Last thing I'm going to say, attorney could potentially save your money. Folks, if you're not a subscriber on my channel, please subscribe, because 50% of y'all watch my videos but you're not subscribers. I appreciate you watching, but that metric does help in the algorithm, and I mean, it gives you street cred. if I got 100,000 subscribers and I got 2 views, well, that tells you something too. But anyhow, hit the subscribe button if you don't mind. And if you're going to conduct any type of business, get you a lawyer. All right, he'll help you stay out of trouble, help you stay legal. Look out for your benefit, your rights. All right, that's enough. Don't say I didn't say what I had to say and warn you and give you my take on, do I need a lawyer? Hell yeah, you need a lawyer. Just like you need a barber and a tailor and a doctor and a dentist. All right, I'm out of here. Did I talk about the tilapia pond effect? You have to listen to that on a previous video.